How you doing? This is Coffee Break with Jimmy, and I guess the big news today is the corrupt judges. Well, you could say there's been corrupt judges all along. I mean, you can go back to what was it in the day when you had all these good fellas back in New York, your gangs and stuff. How many judges did you have in your pocket? How many judges were you in control of? There was corrupt judges from the dawn of time. But here lately, I mean, we've been noticing judges like the indictments on Trump. There's four different judges, four different counts that, and this Judge Mershon convicted Trump of 34 different counts of fraud and now the Attorney General, Letitia James, now she's been charged of the same thing or accused of the same thing of fraud, fraudulently saying how much money her property is worth. I mean, come on. I mean, this is something that's been going on for a long time, but now here recently, and has to do with, I think it has to do with everything with the immigrants, the illegal immigrants that's come across here. We've got, 20 million of them. Some say 10 million, some say 15 million, some say 20 million. I don't know. Nobody really knows how many. But we're trying to get rid of, the bad guys. Trinidad and Tobago, MS-13. But now you got different judges that are trying to stop the progress of Trump's administration of getting rid of these. That's what we voted for, right? I mean, that's what we voted for. Now, it's just not going to stop with the left. The left is going to continue doing this. But now they got this judge. What was her name? Let me see. I got it written down here. Hannah Dugan is a judge in Minneapolis that actually was holding a case, a court trial, and she got upset with ICE officers that were out in the hall waiting for this guy to come out because they were going to arrest him because he's an illegal alien and he's been here and has been deported before, and so they were going to arrest him, but I guess she came out and something. Now this is just what I hear, and from the news. She came out in the hall and got mad at the ICE agents. Went back inside, took this immigrant and his attorney into her chambers or the jury chambers, and then let them out the back door, the jury door, the entrance door, and let him go. But I guess the ICE agents were surrounding the courtroom. When this guy came out, they had to chase him down, but they went ahead and arrested him. But I think they arrested this judge also. And then there's another judge. His name is Joe Cano, I think his name is. Joe Cano and his wife. That actually had a Trinidad and Tobago member that was living on their place. Maybe he was in a guest house out back, or I don't know if he was in the actual home. But he was doing work on the home, I guess. And they got pictures of them shooting weapons together. I know this is a judge, okay? Now, I guess they arrested him and his wife also, okay? So, I mean, the judges, they're not above the law. I mean, Letitia James said that loud and clear, that like Trump wasn't above the law, none of us are above the law. And that's something that you really have to think about. You go to court and you expect the judge to be fair and honest. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, depending on what you've done or haven't done. And there's laws that are, but you expect them to follow the law, the letter of the law, right? Now they'll make some adjustments. I remember one time when I was just a kid, and I had a failure to appear. Now the failure to appear for a traffic ticket, or I don't remember exactly what, but I'm sure it was a traffic ticket. But I had a failure to appear on it. So when I did appear in court for the judge said, you get 1 day in jail for this failure to appear. So he sentenced me to stay with the marshals, which the marshals is the court, like the court sheriff, they're at the court. He put me in custody with the marshal, and I had to spend the day with the marshal in his office after the court was done and whatnot. And then the other marshal told the other one. I knew the marshal really well. Curly Sprague and Mel Richmond. They're gone now, but I actually went to school with their kids. But one marshal said to the other, "Well, is the judge gone now?" "Yeah, he just left." "Well, okay, Jimmy, you can go ahead and go." So he let me go. But that was a judgment that the judge made. I had to pay my dues, so I had to spend the day with the marshals in their office, and that was what the judge sentenced me to. So judges have discretion to do different things, whether it's greater or less. But this is outrageous. How do you get a guy that's in court testifying, and the victims that he victimized were there in court and testifying? Okay, they took this guy into the jury room and then let him go. That is a judge. Come on, man. Anyway, so I guess they arrested her, and then these other judges that were in New Mexico, and they say New Mexico's got some issues there because they're a far left-leaning state. But even the judges, what was the judge? What was his name? I just said his name. He was the judge that sentenced Trump to 34 different felonies. That was a farce. And all these other judges that were against Donald Trump and all his indictments and everything, that was also a farce. But this has been going on. Now they got these district court judges and these circuit court judges, not Supreme Court judges, mind you, but other lower case judges, court judges, that seem like they can do whatever they want to do to stop the administration, to stop Trump and his administration from doing the things that we voted for him to be there, okay? I mean, we voted for him, right? So he should be able to do the job we voted for him to do. Not some district judge or circuit judge, lower court judges that think they can come in because they're a judge. They have this ability to pass judgment on people, but not the President of the United States and his administration. That, if anybody passes any judgment on the President of the United States or administration, it should only be the Supreme Court, and that's it. Okay, and because that's why the Supreme Court is there. That's another part of you get your congressman, you get the executive branch, then you got the Supreme Court branch. It's all part of the government. Now the Supreme Court branch can come in and say what the law is, and Trump will follow the law when it comes from the Supreme Court. I don't have no doubt about that. But this is crazy. So anyway, that's the newest thing. But what I really want to do today on my podcast today, I want to talk about Iran. Now, I know Trump was saying today, on his way to Pope Francis's funeral, he was appearing there at the Vatican today. But he was saying on Air Force One that he thinks he might have a deal. Now they got the deal, of course, with the Russian war in Ukraine, and then but they might have a deal with Iran. But he said definitely Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. Now, I have to say, I watched Mark Levin. Was it last weekend? He had a program. He was talking about Iran. If they ever got nuclear grade uranium to make a nuclear weapon, if they ever have that, do you think that Iran, and now I'm not talking about the people of Iran. I don't believe the people in Iran believe that way. But I believe the mullahs, the people that are in, or the mullahs, the people that are in charge of Iran, the leadership there, they have this thing with the 40 virgins. If you wipe out the infidels, which they consider the West or anybody from Israel infidels, if they're taken out, well, they're going to get 40 or 70, how many virgins there is. It's all ridiculous. But they have this belief system that they would do this. And I don't believe for a minute that they wouldn't. And, of course, it would wipe out the world. It would destroy the world. If everybody sent off their nuclear weapons, we would cease to exist. And I think everyone knows that. But I think smarter people, even though I don't agree with them, like the Russians and the Chinese and India and Pakistan, they all have nuclear weapons, right? Israel has nuclear weapons. United States has nuclear weapons. But these guys all have their heads on screwed on tight to where they're not going to fire this off. And everybody knows this is all the deterrence. But not Iran or the leadership in Iran, not the Iranian people. I'm not saying about them because I don't believe they believe this, but I believe they're in control of their leadership. They control the military there, and I believe if you say anything against them, they'll probably just do away with you. But we got to keep our eye on the ball on this. Because you remember, no, we didn't. We dropped the bombs in Hiroshima and in Nagasaki to end World War II. Because Japan was just relentless. They were going to keep coming no matter how bad we were beating them. And we were coming. We went on all those islands, Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, and we ended up in Okinawa. Okinawa was the last one before they hit the mainland of Japan. But we were marching that way. Of course, World War II was happening in Germany too, and we're kicking Hitler's ass also. So it was coming to an end, but Japan would not stop. And what all went into the decision to drop Big Boy or Little Boy, whatever what they were called. But we wiped out Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the nuclear warhead is, they say, 10 to 20 times as powerful as those bombs that were dropped in Japan. And if Iran was to use that, I mean, just think about the West Coast here, Los Angeles, San Francisco, just being totally wiped out. New York, New Jersey, all the way down to Miami, wiped out totally. Or the whole country of Israel being wiped off the map completely. This is stuff that could happen. Remember 9/11. No one thought that could happen either. When they had planes that flew into our towers, flew into the Pentagon. Another plane that was, the people there were smart enough to take it down. Of course, they all lost their lives, and I feel bad about that. But that plane was on its way to the Capitol or maybe the White House. But everybody knows that that this was. Everybody knows that could happen, and even though we thought this is something that could never happen. But keep that in mind. Talk to your congressman and whoever you need to talk to open their eyes about this. And that's what has to be done. So anyhow, this is Coffee Break with Jimmy. My dogs are going crazy. Please subscribe, press the like button, and share. And I'll see you next time on Coffee Break with Jimmy. Thank you.